Okay guys. This time I'm using the robot voice instead of the typical text because this is going to be a long visual video. I can't repeat enough how important guard counters are in this game. No doubt the best edition of Elden Ring that have turned shields from tools that engender passivity to a tool of poise destruction. Guard counters do a significantly more poise damage than anything else, including jump attacks, and allows you for a gameplay of guarding and then attacking, flinching your enemies and opening them for big damage. But not all guard counters are equal. Some are clearly better at first sight, being faster, and other way slower. And in the other hand, some hit harder and others much less, and by hitting hard I mean breaking poise. Poison enemies works like a status effect, like blood loss. Every hit drains it, and once is full the enemy will need to you and you will be able to perform a critical hit or have time for a fully charged R2 or 2. Being able to break poise in just 1 or 2 hits makes a huge difference in boss fights, since you get these free hits or make attacks safely, interrupting your enemies mid-attack. Sadly, you can't compare poise damage with just the game since there is no indication other than visual confirmation. Luckily Minor Cryptid has compiled one table with basically every single statistic of every weapon in the game, and that has allowed me to extract this information to complement the information you can get from the game itself, like range and speed, to compare every single weapon class and create this tier list. One important thing is that guard counters are common for every single weapon of a type. Every single dagger has the same guard counter animation and damage type. The only exception are colossal weapons, where the blunt ones have improved poise break. Let's begin the ranking. Tier F are these weapons that just can't do guard counter. Staves, bows, crossbows or seal. Every single R tools means to throw arrows or cast spells, and makes sense it works this way. Tier E are these weapons with a below average poise break. They deal half the poise than the upper tiers. To compensate for this, these weapons are faster, or in the case of whips have extra range. Still, there are some that are even worse inside this category, like the torches that can't do critical attacks if you break your enemy poise, or claws that don't have the running slash of daggers and you must be hugging the enemy to hit with them. Daggers and whips are the best inside this category, but seriously, these weapons are much better paired with a parrying shield or another weapon. Tier D are those that have the average poise break value but are flawed in some way that make them much worse than the others in Tier C. Reapers and halberds are here because they have the slower kind of counter you find in the heavier weapons, but without the boosted poise break. Halberds at least got an improved guard boost at patch 1.04 that allows you to use two-handed guard counters. Fists are here because the awful range in the category, and not even the blunt ones have improved guard break. And finally, small shields. That no sane person would use one to just guard counters, but stats-wise they are here. Tier C are the weapons that have a good balance of speed and poise damage. They have a little delay between the counter and the attack, but are much faster than the heavier weapons. There is little to say here in this category, since their thing is that they are neither the best or the worst. Here you find your typical medium-sized weapons like most sword types, axes and spears. I find the better ones to counter the spears because of their range, especially the case of the pike that can hit enemies in another time zone. But no weapon in this category is bad for guard counters. Medium shields here are also a lot better than the smaller ones, but worse than the great ones, so is also in general an avoid. Now, let's go to the spicier ones. Tier B is the category of the weapons that are on the heavy side but aren't of colossal category. They have a 10% higher poise break and are slower to swing. The reason why I rate these above Tier C is because these weapons, being bigger, do usually do more damage and have better range, but are pretty on par with Tier C. Also, since patch 1.04 all these weapons got boosted guard capacities, and you can do two-handed guard counters in a no-suicidal way. The worst of these are the heavy thrusting swords because they lack this bonus. Best once again are the heavy spears because of the extra range perk and how you can also poke behind shields before the guard counter. I could even say they are Tier A without blinking. But I wanted to separate Tier A because they have an even better poise break at 36, that is a 20% more than the Tier C ones. Also, these weapons have even better guarding capacities and attack power, especially thanks to the attack boost of 1.04. I'm not sure if they got the guard boost also buffed with the patch, but they counter just as fast as the other heavy weapons. The one that sticks like a sore thumb here are the great shields. They belong here because also have the 36 points of poise break and are the proper guarding armament of the game. Only reason I don't place great shields higher is that they can't do critical attacks. But it is nothing you can't solve by equipping a dagger. Now, to the cream of the crop. The very best S-tier guard counter weapons, and there are surprises. Hammers and flares have the same poise breaking power than colossal swords while having the attack speed of a straight sword. These are the perfect weapons for breaking poise alongside a good shield, and also you have some powerful weapons in the category able to do bleed damage. Flares on Papel are better because of the higher two-handed guard counter, but these weapons have no good guarding stats to make it viable. Then we have the great hammers with a 30% extra guard breaking that is higher than colossal weapons at a similar speed. So there is not way to look at it other way. Great hammers are better than most colossal weapons, but you know what is better than a big hammer? A bigger hammer. Tier S plus are the blunt colossal weapons with the biggest poise break of the game. 42 poise is a 40% better breaking than Tier C and are the most viable weapons to use two-handed, so the two-handed 46 poise break is possible. This means that doing 2 guard counters with a giant crusher or prelate hammer is like doing 3 with most weapons. Even the enemy's Zammer ruins get broken with just 2 guard breaks one-handed. Colossal hammers to compensate have less damage than greatswords, but a little damage difference is nothing when you can break poise in one less hit and land a critical hit for free more often. The conclusion is clear. If you are going to focus on guard countering, the best weapons are flare for quick attacks and the colossal hammers for two-handed actions. All other weapons are viable and usually have more attack power to compensate. There is nothing wrong with a greatsword at all, and this is why is A-tiered. Praise the bonk, tarnished.